Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry to hold you up. There are a number of speakers. We have a significant amount of information to share. And after all of the various speakers, we'll certainly have, of course, a Q&A opportunity and do our best to answer any of the questions that we can at this time. But having said that, there is a fair amount of information to get through. So I'm going to ask your patience as I work through a fair amount of detail. Let me first and foremost recognize the folks that you will hear from today. Obviously, there's a very large contingent of people here. Not everyone will be speaking, but there are a lot of agencies that we're working with who are, of course, represented. You will hear from Donna Farrell, Executive Director, World Meeting of Families; Marcus Brown, Pennsylvania State Police; Leslie Richards, the PennDOT Cabinet Secretary; Colonel Marcus Brown, Acting State Police Commissioner; John Hanson, CEO of the DRPA; Joe Casey, General Manager of SEPTA; Common Pleas Administrative Judge Kevin Doherty; First Judicial District Court Administrator Joe Evers; Everett Gillison, Chief of Staff and Deputy Mayor for Public Safety Desiree Peterkin-Bell; City Representative, Director of Communications Samantha Phillips; Director of Philadelphia Emergency Management Chief Inspector Joe Sullivan; on behalf of the Philadelphia Police Department, Giselle Jones, Deputy Managing Director for Special Events. We are preparing for the Papal Pilgrims. As Philadelphia and the region continue to prepare for the papal visit and the attendance of an estimated 1.5 million pilgrims during the World Meeting of Families, we want to provide the public with as much information about what we can expect during this incredible, once-in-a-lifetime event. This is our third briefing on the World Meeting of Families and/or papal visit. We're planning many more briefings as details are put into final form over the course of the next 7 or so weeks. Before we get into the many specifics today, give me a moment to set the stage for today's comments and for many others that will come in the weeks ahead. We are 7.5 weeks away from an exciting, joyful, global event. We as a city and region should embrace and own this historic gathering, feel the enthusiasm, and celebrate our shared beliefs in the central role that family plays in all of our lives. Philadelphia is the can-do city, and we can and will do everything in our power, along with our many, many, many partners, to ensure a safe and secure event, a spiritual and joyful event. It will also be one of those rare opportunities for Philadelphia to showcase itself on a global stage, the many things that we've actually been doing for quite some time, managing very large events or situations. And this World Meeting of Families could in fact be the largest ever in the history of the World Meeting of Families. In Manila in 2003, Valencia, Spain in 2006, and Milan in 2012, the closing mass attendance was estimated at 1 million participants in those 3 cities. The current general estimate for Philadelphia is well north of 1 million, possibly 1.5 million or more. In the 20+ years of the World Meeting of Families, Philadelphia could set itself apart as the largest in the history of the World Meeting of Families. We believe that His Holiness Pope Francis and his message will encourage many more people to come to Philadelphia. We're all very excited about the prospect of so many women, men, and children of all faiths coming to the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection, William Penn's green country town, the city and state founded on the fundamental principle of religious tolerance. And at the same time, I certainly do very, very well understand that there are many, many concerns. What will happen? How will it impact an individual citizen or their family, their business, or an employer? I get it. We all get it. Yes, our daily routines will be disrupted, sometimes in minor ways, sometimes in very significant ways. But there will certainly be some levels of disruption to any one of us. But just as soon as we have even more details to announce, we will certainly do so. And that will give everyone enough time to take the appropriate actions, make prudent plans, and prepare for an event like no other in the history of our great city. This is an incredible moment in time for all of us. Let me note that as we prepare for this historic event, we are working and coordinating with a significant number of partners, and I'll mention a few of them. The United States Secret Service, of course, the Philadelphia Police and Fire Departments, Philadelphia Office of Emergency Management, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania's PennDOT, the Philadelphia Parking Authority, the Delaware River Port Authority and PATCO, New Jersey Transit, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the Governor's Office in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the Pennsylvania National Guard, the Pennsylvania State Police, and all of our suburban partners in Bucks, Chester, Delaware, and Montgomery counties. For today, we will provide details regarding vehicle traffic in and around Center City, as well as updates from SEPTA and DRPA on their services as well. Our partners from the state will also highlight how they are working with us to ensure that the World Meeting of Families and the Papal Visit run as smoothly, safely, and openly, with as much accessibility as possible. We're working very closely with Governor Wolf and his team at the state as we move into the final weeks of preparation before the Pope's arrival, and we know that all of our state agencies will be a huge asset during this major event. PennDOT, Pennsylvania State Police, and the Pennsylvania National Guard will play important and major roles when it comes to traffic, transportation, and public safety. In short, there are many people and agencies working in concert to create the best, most thoughtfully executed plan for our city and region during the World Meeting of Families. All of the agencies here today will continue to release more detailed plans about their particular services as we get closer to the event. The World Meeting of Families Congress will take place starting Tuesday, September 22nd, through Friday, September 25th. The Papal Visit portion will take place that weekend, Saturday, September 26th, and Sunday, September 27th. Think of it, potentially 1.5 million visitors, in addition to our 1.5 million residents who have to move around the city and still conduct their daily business and get on with their lives. Again, with these numbers in mind, folks should start thinking ahead and making plans now, because this event will impact the everyday life of our city and our city government. We are working actively every day to make sure that Philadelphia is open and accessible to everyone who wants to be here. But there are a few things to keep in mind if you do travel downtown for this event or for other activities. One, be prepared to walk at least a few miles or more, depending on where you are and where you're trying to go. Private vehicles will really not be a viable option on the weekend in Center City. Public transportation routes and schedules will be altered for efficiency and capacity, and SEPTA and the other agencies will tell us about their plans in just a moment. As we have done with a number of our other special events, the City of Philadelphia has established what we call a traffic box for the Papal Visit. The traffic box is basically an area where private vehicles can exit but cannot re-enter. Within the traffic box, there are also authorized vehicle access roads. Both of these terms we will consistently use across all of the various departments and agencies These are, for this event at least, particular terms of art. They have meaning and definition. The authorized vehicle access roads are for emergency vehicles only, and no other vehicles will be permitted to drive or park on those roads. The traffic box established by the city will stretch from Center City to 38th Street in West Philadelphia. Depending on the crowd size as it develops over a few days leading into the weekend during the World Meeting of Families, the traffic box is slated to begin at 6 p.m. on Friday, September 25th, with other parts west of the Schuylkill River at 10 o'clock p.m. Boundaries are as follows for the Center City traffic box. The northern boundary, Spring Garden to Ridge, Ridge to Girard, Girard to the Schuylkill River. The southern boundary, South Street, River to River. The east boundary, Delaware Avenue from South Street to Spring Garden Street. And the western boundary runs along the edge of the Schuylkill River, cuts up Kelly Drive, stopping just below the Girard Avenue Bridge. For the West Philadelphia component of the traffic box, the boundaries are as follows. The northern boundary, Houghton Avenue, from 32nd Street to 38th. The southern boundary, University Avenue to Grays Ferry. The east boundary runs along the edge of the Schuylkill River and the train tracks. And the western boundary is 38th Street from Houghton Avenue to University Avenue. Bicycle and pedestrian traffic will be permitted within the traffic box. In addition to the announcements related to transportation, we're also announcing that the operations of our city courts, better known as the First Judicial District, will be closed Wednesday, September 23rd through Monday, September 28th. During this period, the City of Philadelphia will be open for services, but there will be limited service plans from Thursday through Monday. We will provide more details in the days to come regarding city service levels and impacts. One final note before we hear from our many partners. I'd like to encourage and ask all of us to take a collective moment of reflection and pride. We as a city, we the people, were chosen for this event. We are the chosen city. And with that comes certain duties, responsibilities, and pride. Yes, we will face challenges for a relatively short period of time, but we'll face them together, as a city, as a region, as a community. But you also know that we've had road closures before. We've had areas of the city cordoned off, and we've had disruptions in service for short periods of time, from snowstorms to heavy rain events and many others. We've had huge events that have also closed the Ben Franklin Parkway. But to be honest, what's different here are the proportions of this event being so large and the impacts that are all going to happen at the same time. That's unique. That's different. But so is hosting the World Meeting of Families, and I'm thrilled about that. This really is our one moment in time. And as the song goes, you're a winner for a lifetime if you seize that one moment in time and make it shine. This is an incredible moment for the City of Philadelphia, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, to shine on the national and international stage. When William Penn designed our great city, he created an important, eye-pleasing, and useful grid system. Today, it's an incredibly walkable, bikeable, and manageable area. Folks will be able to get around William Penn's green country town. We are doing the planning, we're assembling the needed resources, and we've begun a long and detailed discussion with the public about what to expect. And much more information is to come. But let's not lose sight of this wonderful, incredible opportunity with which we have been presented. The Vatican looked all over the world and the United States, and they chose our city for this event. We will be ready, and we're going to open our city to the world, and when it's over, people will really know what it means to be in or a part of the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection. I'm going to introduce the next series of speakers, and when they conclude, of course, we'll have an opportunity for Q&A. First, you'll hear from PennDOT Cabinet Secretary Leslie Richards. Leslie? Right behind me.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor Nutter, and good afternoon, everybody. I'm here to announce the traffic management plan for the papal visit, which has been developed with the coordination of federal, state, and local agencies, taking into account law enforcement and emergency needs, along with the streets closures that Mayor Nutter has just discussed in Philadelphia. PennDOT will close the following roads beginning Friday, September 25th at 10 p.m. I-76 eastbound from I-476, the Blue Route, to I-95. I-76 westbound from I-95 to U.S. Route 1, the Roosevelt extension. I-676 will be closed in both directions from I-76 to I-95. U.S. Route 1 will be closed in both directions from U.S. Route 30, which is Lancaster Avenue, to Belmont Avenue. I'll repeat these closures again. I-76 eastbound from I-476 to I-95. I-76 westbound from I-95 to U.S. Route 1. I-676 in both directions from I-76 to I-95. And U.S. Route 1 in both directions from U.S. Route 30 to Belmont Avenue. These are the only roads under PennDOT's jurisdiction that are expected to be closed during the Pope's visit. I-95 will remain open. It will be open to traffic with only selected ramps closed, and these will be closed due to street closures within the city and security needs. I know this is contrary to some of the messages that we've heard before, but again, I-95 will remain open. These road closures are necessary for public safety to effectively move emergency vehicles, as well as the large number of buses that are expected for the buses that are traveling to and from this event. Traffic will be routed to surrounding highways, and PennDOT will be communicating from now until the papal visit about all of these closures and our traffic plans. We've developed a long-distance cohesive travel advisory plan, as well as a diversion plan. The travel advisory plan, in coordination and working with the Pennsylvania State Police, PEMA, the Turnpike Commission, Philadelphia Police, as well as other states and their agencies. We will be fully utilizing and maximizing message boards from Baltimore to Scranton to be giving travelers real-time data, as well as telling them and showing them diversion routes to avoid the area should they want to get around Philadelphia during that time. All of the welcome centers and rest stops operated by PennDOT throughout the Commonwealth will also have this information for those not from Pennsylvania traveling in for this event. We will also be working closely with the Pennsylvania Turnpike Commission, State Police, PEMA, and local EMS providers to help drivers who may experience difficulties coming in should they have any vehicle issues or safety issues. I cannot stress enough the level of coordination here. Again, PennDOT is committed to coordinate with our federal, state, and local partners. We want to ensure that everybody has an enjoyable experience, a safe experience to this once-in-a-lifetime event. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you. We'll next hear from Marcus Brown, Pennsylvania State Police, who will talk about the State Police and the National Guard. Marcus?
Thanks, Mayor. All right. Due to the size and scope of this event, the State Police will be assisting the Philadelphia Police Department and the Secret Service with the event. The State Police will provide a little over 1,000 state troopers to primarily assist with both crowd management in Center City and traffic control in the surrounding highways. We will also make available to this event some of our tactical assets, including canine, horses, aviation, and bomb detection units. Our goal is to make this event a safe and enjoyable event for all of the visitors to Philadelphia. The state will also be offering the assistance of the National Guard at the request of Philadelphia and the Secret Service. The National Guard will be prepared to assist with traffic control within Philadelphia and crowd management for this event. The National Guard's mission and deployment numbers have not been finalized at this point, but they again have been offered to assist on the event. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll now hear from John Hanson, the CEO of the Delaware River Port Authority, DRPA.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon. I am here to announce the closure of the Benjamin Franklin Bridge from Friday evening at 10 p.m. until about 12 noon on Monday, so from the 25th to about noon on the 28th. The bridge will be closed to all vehicles except for emergency vehicles, and we will use it to allow pedestrians to cross into Philadelphia from New Jersey and back. Thank you.
Joe Casey, General Manager of SEPTA.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon. As previously announced, SEPTA is adjusting service during the papal visit to increase capacity for our passengers and to maximize operational efficiencies by truncating our rail networks to operate high-frequency express service to and from the papal visit events. This modified service will more than double our normal capacity level. Because of the anticipated demand, SEPTA instituted a lottery system for regional rail travel over the weekend of the papal visit. This has proven to be very successful, and we believe we can accommodate most of the requests for the passes. Email notifications will be sent to the winners tomorrow, August 6th, and payment for the passes, which are $10 each, must be submitted by Sunday, August 9th. If there are transactions that are not completed by the deadline, a second round of emails will go out on Monday, August 10th, to those not initially selected. Although passes for the many of our 18 regional rail stations were sold out, we still have passes available for certain stations. The availability of these passes will be announced next week, and they will be sold at those stations and at our Center City locations. Due to the heavy demand on the trolley routes, the Media Sharon Hill lines, routes 101 and 102, and the Norristown High-Speed line, we will again use the same system on the regional rail, limit those customers with papal visit passes. And these passes will again be distributed via a lottery. We'll be sending out information regarding the second lottery this Friday. This time I want to present some information about the airport line. The airport line is the only regional rail line that will be operating both inbound and outbound service throughout the weekend of the papal visit. People flying into Philadelphia International Airport will have the opportunity to purchase fare instruments for the airport line on their arrival. These passes are available only for arriving passengers. All others must have a special regional rail papal pass in their possession to ride from the airport to Center City. Those leaving Center City to catch flights outbound may board the airport line at Jefferson Station or University City Station. All valid, normally accepted fare instruments will be accepted. More information is available on the SEPTA website, www.septa.org. www.septa.org, and we have a special section on the website dedicated specifically to the papal visit. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I really get started, it's so important that I thank Mayor Nutter, Deputy Mayor Gillison, the City of Philadelphia and their team, as well as Governor Wolf, Secretary Richards, and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, as well as all of the many regional governmental, security, and transit agencies who have been and continue to work so diligently, so hard around the clock to plan for this incredible event, the visit of Pope Francis to Philadelphia. No one should doubt in any way that everyone here wants to deliver a world-class event for the city and the tri-state region as the entire world watches. Everything that has been announced today is quite significant in terms of scale and scope for the city of Philadelphia. But what can't be lost in this announcement is that the visit of Pope Francis is also quite significant, hugely significant, not only in size and scope, but also in meaning. The 2 days that Pope Francis will be here follow visits to Washington and New York, where much of what he will do will be in his capacity as a head of state. Philadelphia is very much the pastoral part of the Holy Father's visit to the United States. It's where he has chosen to be with people, whether representatives of vibrant parish life at the Basilica, immigrants who reflect the rich cultural heritage of Philadelphia at Independence Hall, the too often forgotten and marginalized at Karen Fromhold, and of course, the many thousands who will come to share in Pope Francis' message of peace and love on the Parkway. The Holy Father wants people to be part of these moments. So do we all. To that end, the World Meeting of Families, Philadelphia 2015, is urging all buses to be registered now via GoGround, which is our official transportation management partner for the World Meeting. The bus registration for the papal visit is a requirement. It's a must for all commercial buses, including motor coaches, as well as privately owned buses for any buses that are over 15 passengers, and that includes school buses, minibuses, RVs, and commercial passenger vans. Registered bus is going to be one of the most effective and efficient ways to travel to the events in Philadelphia on September 26th and 27th. If you have not yet registered your bus, please visit wmof.goground.com and do so right away. What has been shared today might at first seem a little overwhelming. When it was explained to our team, we understood why certain decisions needed to be made and why the plans really work in concert together. It's important to understand that all of the steps taken related to traffic management, transportation, and security have been steps that the city and the state have taken before for other events and other reasons. This isn't new territory. It's just, as Mayor Nutter said to me, we're doing it all at once for the biggest and most important event the city has ever seen. But we've done it before and we've got this. Let's enjoy it and let's celebrate it. There are extraordinary moments planned for Pope Francis' visit. And with the proper time and information, all who wish to participate can, and we invite them to do so. It's why all of us are here today and why we will continue to provide as much information as possible over the course of the next 7 weeks. Can't answer every question yet. We would love to. But we are committed to doing all that we can to deliver a transformative and unforgettable moment for the city of Philadelphia, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and our region on the world stage. As our Director of Security, Andy Wurst, who's a former Secret Service agent and a lifelong Philadelphian, reminds us every single day, it's going to be great. It is. Count on that, and know that this once-in-a-lifetime moment is one that we will all be talking about decades from now. Thank you.
Donna, thank you. Thank you very, very much for the uplift. A couple last comments before we go into the question and answer period, and again, we'll do our best to answer any questions that you might have. Some we may be able to answer quite quickly and directly, others we may not at this moment. I want to take note and thank both Police Commissioner Ramsey and Fire Commissioner Sawyer for their incredible support and expertise, the value that they bring to planning this kind of event. Second is many of our businesses and building owners and others have received information about their location or the impact that this incredible event may have in particular with them, whether it's staff or employees or residents, depending on where you live. I want to very heavily stress and encourage that those owners, as you receive information, please make sure that you get that information out to your employees, to your staff, or to your residents if we're talking about a residential circumstance. Lastly, from the secular to the spiritual. We know in Matthew 15 the following. And great multitudes came unto him, having with them those that were lame, blind, maimed, and many others, and cast them down at Jesus' feet, and he healed them. And so much that the multitude wondered when they saw the dumb to speak, the maimed to be whole, the lame to walk, and the blind to see, they glorified the God of Israel. Then Jesus called his disciples unto him and said, I have compassion on the multitude, because they continue with me now 3 days, and have nothing to eat. And I will not send them away fasting, lest they faint in the way. And his disciples say unto him, Whence should we have so much bread in the wilderness, as to fill so great a multitude? And Jesus said unto them, How many loaves have we? And they said, 7, and a few little fishes. And he commanded the multitude to sit down on the ground. Well, many of us know the rest of that story and how that worked out. I share it in the context of the faith and trust that Jesus had in his disciples and in the people. And so I say I have the same strong faith and trust in Pope Francis as a leader, in our city, in our team, and our citizens. We'll do very, very well. Be glad to try to answer any of your questions.
Mr. Mayor, does that mean you're going to be feeding the multitudes?
No. We'll make sure they're well hydrated, though.
Well, as a security question, a lot of people are wondering, can they bring food and water? And maybe Inspector Sullivan can address that. Will people who've been waiting in line for 3 hours to get on the train and arrive in the city and have to walk several miles to get to this area, will they be able to bring their own food, refreshments, and water?
They will. Yeah, they will.
Backpacks, that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if you have to, as you well know, for any big event, I mean, if you have to go through a security check or a security area, obviously, bags are going to be checked. There are any number of areas, though, that are not ticketed areas or areas where you would have to go through, for instance, a magnetometer. And in that instance, certainly we want people to have provisions. We'll, again, I mean, in a more serious way, we'll have a significant amount of water supply for folks. You know, it's September, but we know, sometimes September can be as warm as any July or August in Philadelphia. And we want to make sure that folks have the kinds of things that they need, again, as we've done with other major events here in the city, and certainly activity out on the Ben Franklin Parkway. We have to be mindful, again, that folks may have walked a little bit. It could be a little warm or humid, and we want to make sure that to the greatest extent possible, both people plan, again, your own kind of personal plan for how you're going to enjoy and experience the World Meeting of Families, and at the same time, we're planning to make sure that we try to have as many basic provisions, but also the services that are necessary. If someone were to faint or something else happened, we have to be able to get that person, get to that person, and then use those authorized vehicle access roads to get them taken care of. That's the language, Bruce. I see you over. I'm sorry, give me the first part.
The traffic box that you described here today looks very similar to the one that everyone assured us a week or so ago was not right. And beside that point, what can you tell us about the description of people can't drive in, but they can drive out? So how does that work?
I'm sorry, Bruce, give me the second part of that.
With regard to what kind of vehicular traffic is allowed, I thought I heard you say that people would not be able to drive into the box, but they could leave the box. So if you're in the box, how does someone know that you're not driving from point A in the box from the Franklin sector to the Rittenhouse sector? How do they know you're leaving the box? How would that work?
Well, again, I think if we take a look at it, if we use South Street, which is the green line down the bottom. So let me try to figure this out. If you're at 21st and Spruce, and you want to go to 10th and Locust, you've actually not gone outside of that green box. It's the crossing. It's the north-south movement across that particular line that, quote-unquote, has you going out of the box. So if you went to 10th and Fitzwater, you went across, you went south of South Street, you went out of the box, you would not be able to get back in. But if your activity, if you can drive around in the box.
But once you leave it, you may not return.
With your vehicle, right? Always walking, always bicycles, but no vehicles.
Now, I don't be labor, but I think it's important to be able to there was a sense that
yes.
you knew everything. What you're saying,
right.
to be clear, is you may drive your vehicle for a period of time within some of these areas.
Yes. Yes.
As long as you're staying within the box.
Exactly. But that goes, and I appreciate you kind of pushing to the side on your own the earlier description. The problem with the earlier description, the quote-unquote false maps, was that it was characterized in one iteration as a complete secure zone where nothing could happen. That was not true, and I think that was last week's press conference when we were dealing with, kind of the whole map situation. So, within the green, you can drive around in different areas. Now, there will be challenges in some parts of that area, which I cannot get into right now. But if you are, for this example, if you are north of South Street and stay within that area, you are fine. There may be some other challenges later on when that's explained in a different press conference. But if you go out with your car, you cannot bring your car back. You can come back. On your bike, you can come back. You cannot bring your car back.
What about essential personnel like doctors and nurses to the hospitals? Special provisions for them?
The one thing, I'm glad you asked the question. We have had a tremendous level of contact, coordination, and cooperation from our hospital and medical community. They know already what they need to do and how they can function and operate. And it is at an extraordinary level of both understanding and cooperation that we really have to praise the medical community that's within any particular area, but they already know what they need to do and how to do it, and we've accommodated for their personnel. There was a hand over here. Yes, Tom?
Mayor, we're not going to use the F word today in defense
I'm glad you defined that.
So, people who are parked on the streets within the box,
So,
are they go for people parked on the streets?
On the street.
within boxes, before the restrictions are put up, those cars will be allowed to stay for the weekend? Or are all the cars within the box going to have to be cleared out?
for today's conversation, for what we can talk about, in the bulk of the areas within the north, south, east, west of the green box, if you decide to park your vehicle on the street, garage, whatever the case may be, and I'm being very general here because there are other aspects that I can't discuss at the moment, but for the most part, if you have your vehicle at your house or in your garage or on the street, in most areas of the green box defined area, and decide to just leave it in place for the weekend, no issue.
But we're still not talking about the F-word until
We're not going to talk about either of the F words for the moment. Because I don't have, seriously, I don't have an answer at the moment to the one that I can talk about.
For people leaving town, maybe Thursday or Friday, can they come back Sunday night in the Center City? I think there are specifications when it's traffic.
Again, I mean, it really depends on, you know, how, when you say that, can you come back? Complete and open access, even for the green area, with the exception of some others that I can't discuss at the moment, by foot or bicycle. So if you have left Thursday, went wherever you went, business trip, whatever, you're away for a few days, you get back to Philly on Saturday, and you live in one of those areas. Depending on, you know, I guess kind of what your mode was, if you took a cab to go where you're going to be able to get to a certain point, and then that's it. So you may have to walk. But the cab can get you as close as they can get in that kind of scenario. You would not be able to say that one more time. What, on the green? Not in a position to get into that level of detail at the moment. I mean, that's a part of a function of you know, the mass is scheduled for 4. It'll go however long the Pope wants to have a mass. Then I mean, he will then leave at some point in time. There still could be 1 million plus folks left behind who are trying to figure out, you know, their next moves, their next steps. And what we want to try to do, quite honestly, is avoid significant mixing of a whole lot of people and a bunch of cars where folks could literally be still in the streets. So it's a public safety issue.
People walking across the bridge or from Green Street, is there a contingency for elderly or disabled? Do you recommend that elderly come? Are they going to be wheelchairs for them?
Working through all of that, I mean, obviously, I mean, we certainly want, absolutely, the Pope wants the elderly and others to come to this event. We recognize that some people obviously have, I mean, just age or anything else might have some challenges, and we'll work with those individuals, working with that constituency, but not in a position to get into that level of detail. Holly?
For the road closures that PennDOT announced, when do they go back to normal, on Sunday or Monday?
I think we're probably not in a
Similar answer. We're working through that. We have to see how people leave the event. You know, the goal is, you know, early Monday morning, but we will be able to give more details as we work through that.
Yeah. And again, for many of these, you know, kind of what I'd refer to more now as almost the recovery period, kind of the city and all of our various assets getting back to normal operations. Again, this is somewhat similar to when we have big planned events or unplanned, you know, significant weather events. You know, we do what we do. The event takes place. At some point, you know, it stops raining, it stops snowing, whatever the case may be, and then slowly the city, you know, kind of comes back into full operations. So we expect Sunday night into Monday, I mean, that, starts a recovery period. But at this point, I mean, we can't say at XYZ time everything's going to be open, because we don't know what our conditions are going to be. So we can tell you at the moment when things will be in place, but it's a little hard because we don't know how quickly people are going to dissipate to absolutely, with a hard number, say, and it's going to be open such and such a time. Yes.
Do you know where the portals are going to be, where people will be able to come in this box area?
Say that one more time. Which box?
What I would call the portals. Where would be the areas where they would be able to come in? Will every street along that line, where all the windows are, will they all be blocked off?
You're just talking about the green?
Yeah, I mean, the green area.
Yeah, there will be security in all of the green area to prevent vehicle ingress in that circumstance. Yes. It is stunning that you asked that question, because I actually asked the same question just this morning, and a person sitting at the table had the answer. I was surprised. So let me, just for context, the City of Philadelphia estimated to be 138 square miles. I've heard different numbers depending on who you talk to, but I mean, we kind of agree on that one. The overall area here is about 3 square miles. So it gives you some level of proportion of this area in the context of the greater City of Philadelphia. It's about, it really is about crowd control and public safety and the ability to maintain some semblance of, security and order in an environment where, there are going to be a lot of people. All right, I mean, and so it's a measure to just try to provide some level of safety and security in that particular area. It's a defined zone, but you don't have all of that cross traffic. I mean, it's really going to be hard in some areas for folks to drive anywhere if hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people are just in the street. That's a bit of a dangerous mix there. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor.
Tell me where you're from, sir.
I'm sorry?
Tell me where you're from.
I'm from the USTV pool. I represent the
Okay.
Right.
No problem.
In connection with the ability to drive within the box and the registration of buses that Don mentioned, if a business or businesses within the box need to get their employees from outside the box to inside the box, it is feasible, it's not, for them to engage one or more buses, 15 passenger vehicles, whatever, to do shuttle runs from the perimeter to their businesses. Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, on its face, if nothing else was going on, I mean, that's it's at least a plausible question or statement or a topic of discussion. The reality is that the buses that are bringing folks, bringing people to the World Meeting of Families, they're not coming in that particular area either. We're trying to limit as much vehicular traffic in the green zone as possible. There will be a lot of people. And when you put a lot of people and extra vehicles in the same defined space, we're very concerned about that security. At the same time, the businesses, many of the businesses in areas within that green box that are potentially even more impacted, there is an outreach effort to talk with them about their particular needs, whether it's staff or employees, deliveries, personnel who normally work on the weekends versus obviously those who, some businesses in Philadelphia are Monday to Friday. That's what they do, and and box goes into effect 6 o'clock, and people make other decisions about maybe what time they want to, actually have their staff, their employees leave. again, as we often do when we have significant, events or scheduled or unscheduled. But we are truly trying to manage vehicles in concert. I don't want to say in contact, because we don't want contact, but vehicles in concert with hundreds of thousands of people who will literally be on the streets. I mean, you may or may not know the city of Philadelphia. I think, one of the great things about the city, of course, is our grid. One of the things that is a challenge for Philadelphia, as compared to maybe some other cities, we have relatively narrow sidewalks. Sidewalks can only hold so many people, right? I mean, I've been to some other cities, they're, 12, 15-foot wide sidewalks. I mean, fantastic. They're great cities, too. But, I mean, at some point, you can't walk on the sidewalk. Well, where are you going to be? You're going to be in the street, right? So that's why we're trying to limit vehicular traffic. Let me come back over to the right, if there's anybody. Yes, Trudy.
If you live in the box,
So,
you have a car, and you have a parking space, but you can't take that car out of the box after 30 days and come back in.
Unfortunately, I might have to parse your question a little bit. You can take the car out, but you can't come back in. Can't bring the car back in. You can come back in. Well, I mean, if we're going to go West Philly, yeah, a little bit. I mean, Trudy's just, you're just going to break it down, right? So, I gave a 6-page dissertation, and you just said, if you move, you lose, and that's the end of it, right? I mean, I just should have said that. Way to go, Trudy. So yeah, if you're in the green area, you live there, that's where you are, you have a car, you can move around. You can move around within. But if you go across in any of the 4 directions with a vehicle, you have to leave your vehicle somewhere else. You can come back for whatever the period of time is. So I mean, again, this is, I mean, we collective, we cannot overemphasize. Again, scheduled events, unscheduled events, we've had storms on the weekend and other kinds of things. Nobody can go anywhere. That's kind of it. Joyful moment, incredible opportunity, once-in-a-lifetime situation, and you are getting, I think, hopefully a much greater sense of what some of the challenges may be. What I'm asking Philadelphians to do is, the dates, the times, it's over a weekend. Think about what you would normally do on, I guess this must be like the last weekend in September. And if you normally go wherever it is you go on Saturday, and if it's in Center City, let's acknowledge up front, it will be probably, depending on where you're trying to go, it could be a challenge. You either want to pre-plan, you want to maybe go there on Thursday, you want to do something else, whatever the case may be, to kind of lessen your level of inconvenience. If you're not planning to do anything or go anywhere, or you don't usually move around on the weekends, you'll have a ball. But just plan for yourself. Make a plan. Think about it. What do I usually do on Friday? What do I usually do on Saturday? What do I usually do on Sunday? And then kind of adjust. Have a plan, and then come out and have a good time. Yes, sir.
Going back to the businesses that you're talking about, you're saying that there's going to be an outreach effort.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you've already started? Have you already been at the table with businesses, or is this something you said, how are you thinking of that?
We've had previous discussions with any number of businesses. Again, going back to the earlier question, a lot of contact with our hospital and medical community. Many of our hotels, a lot of discussion with them. Obviously, they have, people are going to be staying at their hotels. They have to get their staff in. Are they staying? Once they get in, do they leave? Do they stay? All that kind of stuff. And that will continue in an even more intensified fashion. But, it didn't just start today. This has been going on for some time, and but we still have more work to do. Yeah.
Now, what about caps in the traffic box? Will they be there? Will they be operational? Will they be viable?
I think I'd characterize it this way. Still a topic of conversation, trying to, address a variety of different concerns with regard to cabs or that mode, that form of transportation. And so at the moment, not in a position to get into the details about cabs, but it's a current topic of discussion. And come back over here. Yes, sir.
The amount of detailed specifics of the PennDOT, do you have printed materials that sometimes you can go on?
Yes, the state's putting out a press release this afternoon, if it's not already out now. It'll be out shortly, and if you have any questions, yeah, let us know. But all of the information that I stated is in the press release with additional information as well.
Let me take a few last ones. Gentleman in black. Okay.
What do you, or the city, can do to prevent someone who has a large property to not rent the property prior to closures, so people can park there, stay there for the entire weekend? That's an option.
I'm sorry, I didn't really understand that.
Could you rent out a parking lot? Could someone essentially rent out a parking lot for people to put their RVs in? Other people who may just drive in and stay in the city? Is that considered?
In the green?
In the traffic
Well, I mean, again, the general rule here is that once the traffic box goes into effect, there will be no ingress into that box. That takes place on Friday at 6 p.m. In your scenario, if someone was going to do that first, I think there's probably nothing we can do about it. I mean, if you own the lot, we may, I don't know, we may require some kind of permitting or something like that, but I don't think we can, flat out say, no, you can't do that. I think the challenge for that person is making sure, if they're engaging in that whomever they've made that agreement with, or whatever the case may be, that they need to get in there before Friday at 6 o'clock. Holly?
What are the black dots, and also will schools be open?
I'm sorry, what black dots?
That's what defines our sectors.
Yeah. Is that what you're talking? You can point to it. It's not going to, you're not going to get radioactive. Sorry. Yeah, those are, I think one of them clearly is I think one is Broad Street, I think one is Market Street, and it looks like the other one is just on a diagonal going straight up to Ben Franklin Parkway. They have no, yeah, it's for orientation purposes. Schools, I don't have any information on that at the moment.
So the registered buses with all these codes, they come to a certain point on Saturday morning at the edge of the green line, at the edge of the box, right? They get that far.
They'll be directed to go to specific places.
Is that the concept? Or do they get to use any of the emergency lanes?
They will not be on the emergency lanes at all. And I think Donna was the person who heavily emphasized those buses, bus operators, tour operators, or whomever, they need to be registered with the World Meeting of Families. And then they will know exactly where they are supposed to go, where their drop-off would be, and then where they go back to park. Right, yeah. So those folks, kind of following the rules, they'll know everything they need to know, and they'll go back to their parking space. The folks who travel with them will know where their bus is, so that. If you, just kind of show up out of nowhere, that's a whole different story. Okay, 2 last questions.
First of all, for emergencies outside of cable business, something happening elsewhere in the city. And also, if there's an emergency, maybe somebody from family that needs to get in during the weekend, somebody passes away, or, there's sort of those kind of things.
I understand, yeah. Right. Give me the first part of the question. Oh yeah, again, and I think you maybe were the one that asked about what's the size of that. Well, we still have a city to operate, and whether it's from a police perspective, fire perspective, or emergency services, the citizens of Philadelphia will be well protected and well served. for, the kind of essential services that, that folks have to have, both inside the green and outside the green. I mean, as I said, we still have a city government to run and operate. With regard to your second question, without getting into any level of detail, if there were some, horrific, tragic, some other, kind of situation, we'll figure out the details on that. We'll do the right thing and exercise good judgment.
To be determined.
Yeah, no particular details on that one. We'll come back to you with that. All right. Thank you all very, very much. I appreciate your time and your patience. Thank you.